for having them.
I'm so glad we're live.
Hello,
Let me
everybody. Thank
finally get off my back.
you for this. Yeah, that's awesome.
Oh, let me turn off my phone.
Oh, you know what? Thank you for reminding me. Yeah, everybody wants to call me because my phone number is up there, and then it rings in the middle of the show. Here we go.
Oh, live caller. I
Yeah,
like it.
yeah. We should probably take them, live, put them on speakerphone, let them talk.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. So guys, it's an exciting time to be alive. We're in the third week of January now. How's it feel?
Wow. It
5.
doesn't feel like the third week already.
I know. Tell me about it. No, it's actually technically it's the fourth week.
Don't say that.
Yeah.
Okay, I got to get on my goals even more.
I never realized there's 5 weeks to a month. How did this happen? Oh man, wow. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Oh,
So
yeah.
guys, yeah, you see that? You see how it's the fourth
Yeah.
week. Yeah, fourth week today. First whole third week in 3 days.
First whole quarter of our month.
Yeah,
Of
yeah.
our year.
So guys, look, I just want to let's come clean, right? So are we tracking our goals? Because we're talking about this beautiful goal. We could get to that later. I want to know whether or not you guys are hitting your goals or not, but this is a 12-week year.
The goals I set, I'm tracking and I'm pretty spot on.
You're spot on, huh? That's
Yeah.
fantastic. Okay.
10,000 steps a day. I'm doing it. Bree, we didn't get to talk about our steps today.
I hope you know my goal is not 10,000 steps a day.
Good.
My goal, I don't know if you just made that up for me or not. My
Yeah.
goal is 8,000 a day to be consistent. My stretch goal is 10,000 a day. So if I get
Well,
10,000, I'm good. If I get,
you don't have a choice. If I'm 10K, you're 10K.
then I want to see the numbers from this week and see how we both did.
All right. Well, here you go. Let's start now.
Yeah, let's open the app. Actually, hey, we can invite our friends to join us. Guys, if you want to do the step challenge with us.
Okay, my average 13-day average is 10,538.
Rosie, is there a way for you to drop a link to the Step Up app in the comments?
You know,
I don't know that there
there's
is.
so many things I can come on the spot. Step Up is the app, guys.
Yeah.
Step Up.
I know, but we're gonna need to send them the link so they can join us on our challenge.
If you you can just text me and then I'll figure it
How
out.
about this?
They can
Text Bree and she'll get you on the Step Up app. And when whoever joins us, we need a prize. Think of a prize.
I will hold on. I want to have a much deeper conversation than this. So, guys, like we all have the goals. We can have the nicest app. We have all the trackers. But I want to talk about what is the reason somebody does it and somebody doesn't.
Well, I have to come clean here.
Is that what we're getting?
My only goal was to track because I do all these audacious and cool things, but I hardly ever track them. So
Roger's goal is to track it.
I'm just letting you know. I'm letting you know I'm coming clean. Okay, so I've tracked 3 days so far, and we're clean. But I have not given up. No, I have not given up. So that's exactly what the 12-week year talks about. It talks about how people give up because.
No, listen, you don't have to track. Your phone is tracking for you.
Well, it's steps. I'm trying to track the number of days I'm doing red light. So I do red light. Huh?
The body one.
Rosie, can you tell everybody what red light therapy is?
Oh, I'm coming over.
Okay, I'm not the doctor on it, but red light therapy is a very healthy thing to do, and it's
good for your mitochondria.
It's good for your mitochondria. It just good. Period. Your cells need red light to be healthy, and what I was gonna the link is you can go to Platinum LED. They have really good panels for red light. And so, how many days have you done that, honey? You took me for a tangent. You're very smart.
I've done
Trying to give me a lecture on red light. I was talking about tracking.
I've
Hold
done
on.
like religiously, except for these last 3 days that I was in bed for because of allergies and cedar fever, all this stuff. But I've done it consistently. I just haven't tracked it. And so now my goal is tracking those results, right? So the easiest thing for me to do would be to give up on my goal. But my goal is to track to see how I track over 12 weeks, right?
So,
If I
Bree, why does somebody track and why does somebody doesn't track?
I don't know, but I need to tell y'all something and come clean.
Okay, yeah, please.
My intention is always to track.
Yeah.
And this is a pattern of mine that I have noticed.
Huh.
I'm going to do really good with the tracking for the first month, maybe 1.5 months. Then I'm going to have a bad day, maybe a bad couple of days.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say, F it. And I'm not going to do anything for
Yeah.
another 2 months. And then I'm going to be like, time to go, do it
Yeah.
again. And this is my pattern that I have been experiencing, I think, for the past 10 years.
Yeah.
2 months and 1 month break, and 2 months and 1 month break, and 2 months and 1 month break. So it's the third month. That's a witch.
But no. I think it's like
tell you,
1.5 2-month break, 1.5 months, 2-month break. I take a huge break.
Oh, and then you come back to it.
Then I come back.
Hold on, I'm gonna share something with you.
Okay,
Okay, so listen.
entertaining watching you.
The emotional cycle of change, right? Do y'all see that?
Mm-hmm.
And so what's happening is when we're setting that goal to track, it's an uninformed optimism. So like right now, it's like, man, only if I can track my goals, man, I'm gonna track, and the world's gonna transform, and you're so optimistic.
Yeah.
And then the informed pessimism happens, like, crap, I'm tracking, but either I'm not getting the results I wanted, or this isn't fun, or something happens, right? And what you're describing is the valley of despair. So you hit the valley of despair, like, fuck, I'm not tracking anymore. And immediately each time you start back over, you start over with uninformed optimism.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? And success and fulfillment would be if you had a bad day and you're like, well, I can't stop tracking just because I had a bad day. And then eventually you could start tweaking those systems and figuring out why you're not tracking. See, so my challenge and your challenge are a bit different. You're saying you stop tracking once you hit a roadblock, right?
Yeah, like maybe there's a couple of days where I don't hit my goal and I'm like, damn.
But you can actually consistently start tracking for a while.
Oh, yeah.
I have the biggest problem starting.
Mm.
So what I made a commitment to doing now is
Why do you laugh, Ru?
Look at you two both talking.
number of days
One person is like,
the only thing I'm not tracking, hold on. The only thing I'm not tracking is the number of days I'm not tracking.
Well, we know what you're not tracking.
Yeah, it's clear. But I'm not demotivated by any means. I'm going to do this for 12 weeks. I'm convinced by day whatever, it's going to click. It's going to be like, okay, I got it. I know how this could work. You see what I mean?
I don't have that problem.
Yeah, because you have an app and she's doing it right. She's tracking one thing. And that one thing is on Step Up. So she's tracking her steps. So if you think of periodization is doing something for about 4 to 6 weeks and just developing one goal and just hitting the target on that one goal before adding another goal.
Yeah.
So I have something to say.
Say it.
Okay. So I feel like you guys are trying to do too much.
Always.
Yeah.
So I want to tell you guys about something I did 6 years ago. So sometimes the things that we hold on to, until you develop a disgust towards it, you just don't know how to get rid of them. I had a moment of disgust with the way I was going about life, how my mind was, how my body was. I was like, how is it that, my mind just wanders off wherever the thing is in front of me? I have no control over it. Like, I want my mind to be liberated and do whatever it wants, but it should be intentional. Like, it should be where I want it to spend time. It shouldn't be like I'm doing this and my brain is just wandering off here, and then there, and so much. I got sick and tired of it. And I picked one thing. I was like, you know what? I don't know if this one thing is for me or not, but I'm just going to do it because I got so frustrated with the way I was. So I will say one thing now, that because I built that one habit since 6 years ago, I just did one thing. It didn't have to be personal. It didn't have to be financial. It didn't have to be business. It was just my one thing that I personally deep down needed in that moment. What I've learned is that if if I was able to win over myself with one thing, stacking other things are so much easier. They just have to match the intensity of my significance of how badly I want it.
Hmm.
So now, before I say yes to now, one thing that please I want to exempt myself from is that I'm no guru here. I got my life perfect. I have 600 things I do wrong. But when it comes down to coming up with something that is significant, I feel like it goes back to our identity. My question is that, have you shared it with people that you will feel like you have let down that relationship if they saw how you're showing up?
Mm, okay, I can use that.
So there are people I admire in my life, and I have people I care about in my life. And if I make my goal public with them and I tell them I'm going to do it, I don't have the courage. I'm about to say the wrong word now. Cahoots.
What? No, that doesn't. The cojones.
See? I can get wrong every time. What was it?
I think it's just funny.
No, it was going really well, right?
Like here.
Okay. So I don't have the courage to let those people down.
Yeah.
And not only letting it down in a way, I feel like it's just publicly sharing what you're going to stand for, right? And I think the other thing I did is I didn't say I'm going to do it for 52 weeks. I said I'm just going to do it for one day, just one day. And if I end up feeling good about it, I'm going to remember that feeling and I'm going to ask myself, do I want the feeling of winning at it, or I want a feeling of not winning at it? Because what do? Once we hide from something and we failed at it, we run away from it.
Mm.
We hide away.
Mhm.
How many times has it happened to us where we said that we're going to do it and then we didn't do it, and then you slowly start yourself unsubscribing from the group and you just kind of don't want those messages, you don't want anybody asking you? I faced that embarrassment. I was like, okay, I'm the only one not keeping my word, but I'm going to look at it and I'm going to stare at it and I'm going to face that every day. And when I became disgusted with the way I was showing up, change happened. I probably failed at it for 7, 8 months. Now I'm only doing it 7 days at a time. I'm not saying I'm going to do it for 52 weeks. So I have given myself that freedom that it's only 7 days.
Well,
Yeah, you
So
can do
7 days.
it.
And you can do anything for 7 days. But I will tell you this, even on this day 7, day 5 was the hardest
Oh.
because allergies hit, cold hit, and I had some serious, significant conversations to have about business that week. And at the end of the day, I was like, Rosie, do you have it in you to pull it off? Like, I mean, you know what? I was so bummed. Uh, one more thing, finish your goal before 12 at night.
oh boy.
I go
What happened?
at 12:15 at night. So my goal got transferred to the next day and I didn't get accounted for. So finish your daily goal before 12.
That's
But
funny.
publicly share it, become disgusted with the way you're showing up. And number three, um, ask yourself,
Rosie, maybe find another word.
what did I say?
Become disgusted.
No, become disgusted with the way you're showing up.
Oh, with the
Yeah.
I don't
If it
know.
is not disgusting to you, how you are just so easy with, like, we keep our word with other people,
well,
but we're
that's
not
another
keeping our
book.
word with
That's
ourselves.
another book I want to read is what is it? The Power of I have it in my bag. But it talks about making things unattractive. That's Atomic Habits, ain't it?
Yeah, that's atomic habits. But I'm saying what I was trying first of all, thank you for bringing to my awareness. Disgusted word probably could be difficult to absorb or swallow for people. What I'm really trying to say is how many times we keep our word with other people. Like Brie, like I know you're someone who always reaches back. Somebody reaches out to you, you respond back. But are you responding back to you?
No.
Hey, come up with a word that you like.
Making
Help
unattractive.
me a girl out here. Okay, back to y'all.
Okay. So first off, I just want to say we got quite a few things going on today. One, we have an inauguration, so new president. So let's see how where that takes us, and a lot of people are curious about how this is going to impact the economy. I was sitting in a an economic forum just a few days ago, and they were talking about, what does it mean to have a new president and how his policies are going to impact the economy, positive, negative, and whatever it is. So we won't know until it actually happens, right? And so we have a lot of people that are optimistic because, or at least the finance sector people, because they're saying, he is a business person and maybe he can add some fuel to the economy right now, being that we are in a kind of a slump. And other than that, another really important day, it's MLK Day. So, and we're celebrating that. And so I wanted to share just a couple of MLK quotes here today and see what your guys' thoughts on it were. If we can share our experiences about them. Okay, let's see. Darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate, only love can do that. And I love this quote, and I remember using it just recently on a social media. We get into it, right? And so I was saying something like this, but I don't think it landed. But I think regardless, then you just gotta say whatever, move on. But I think it's really important that we remember this, that that we got to be the light in the world, right? I don't know. I just want to commemorate MLK. I thought you guys,
Rosie, you
uh,
can't hear.
huh?
Rosie,
Yeah, no, I think it's really amazing. Thank you, Brie.
Yeah,
It's very important that we remember greatness like this.
yeah. And also, anything you guys want to add to that?
I just think it's like I saw something that was like, Martin Luther King would only be, I don't know, it was something crazy, like only 90, wait, like his age would be less than 100 years old, if he was still alive. And it just goes to show, and he would only be like 90 or something, 93, something like that. And it
Wow.
just goes to show, like, you, in your mind, you think this was such a long time ago, but this really wasn't that long ago. And there's still like a lot more things and a lot more fight that we really should be doing.
Yeah,
And silence is speaking.
yeah,
So if you're silent about something and being complacent about something, that's also speaking, and maybe not in the most positive way. So
Yeah.
he inspired, you know, me, us, everyone to really fight for what's right. And I think that we should continue to do that.
yeah. And I also like this one too. Faith is taking the first step, even when you cannot see the whole staircase.
Oh, that's powerful.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
and so that's Sharon from the MLK quotes. And also, I wanted to talk about something here. One of my friends named Ron and Kate are celebrating their 25th anniversary today.
Oh,
Yeah, so 25 years, really great friend of ours, and they're very inspiring. And one of the things that Ron says here is says the key isn't a secret. It's about committing to growth, understanding each other's wounds and perspectives, and honoring the shared journey, which which is not the faint of heart. So
Hmm.
maybe I can put that in here. I'd love for you guys to give me your thoughts on this.
can you put it in there so that I
Yeah,
just
let me put it in here and then share it with you guys.
Can you put it in here so I can have Chris read it?
yeah, Chris.
So, how often do we think something's a secret? You know, we're looking for secrets all the time, whether it's uh, creating wealth, uh, becoming more fit, whatever the case may be. We're always thinking there's got to be a secret to this, and uh, and so it's really refreshing from someone who's been married for 25 years and leads an extraordinary life to say, "Hey, it's not a secret." Matter of fact, he's a coach, a business coach,
Mm.
and lives here on Barton Creek, has a beautiful home in Austin. And so he says it's about committing to growth. And this really caused me to be curious how many couples are actually committing to growth, right? So I think once we do that, once we make that commitment to growing, it becomes the glue in our relationship.
Yep.
And understanding each other's wounds and perspectives. I know one of the easiest things to do is when your spouse has a wound you don't, is to just tell them to get over it. I don't know if you guys have experienced that. Like, Rosie, you could speak on it.
Tell me more about that.
Well, I mean, it's just the easiest thing, right? So whenever someone else is going through a conflict that we aren't, and we just forget sometimes that the conflict that we're going through is different. That's the only difference is that we're not dealing with the same thing they're dealing with. Our may look just as unattractive to them. So what kind of grace are we going to extend our relationships? You know, you may be dealing with a different kind of problem, and for me that's an easy one. I could easily get over that. So what the very first thing to do is you can marginalize that person's problem, right? You could say, well, why is that even a thing for you? And so here it's talking about understanding each other's wounds. And so while the other person has a wound there, you're not going to go and poke your finger in that wound. You're going to help them tape it up. You're going to help them recover from that, right? So I think it's a lot about being sensitive to the other person, being loving and comforting to them, and allowing them the space and energy to grow and to become whole. I would just love to know what y'all think about that. I think for him to say that was pretty profound and something I expect of him, but it's still very insightful, I would say. Like, why would he share the idea of understanding each other's wounds? Why is that necessary for 25 years of a healthy marriage?
I think, in simple words, what I would say is that we see other people's behaviors as reactions. We think, oh, they're reacting too much, right? And I think what we fail to see is the reason behind it. And if the reason is not the reason similar to what we have, then it's easy for us to just dismiss it. And so many relationships dismiss it. We went through our growth journey and we dismissed it. We didn't understand why certain things were more important to you and why certain things were more important to me, right? And I think understanding ourselves, I one of the things I still I feel like is the biggest gift Ron gave us when he said, Rosie, the more clear you become about yourself, more clarity you will have in your goals.
Mm.
That was the biggest gift I received. And I think to be able to just simply say, I have this reaction because this is the pain I'm experiencing. And in that moment, acknowledging it and registering it. And now, when the other person is reacting to something, extending them the grace and say, okay, what is their good reason to do so? Because he or she is not the kind of person who wants to cause pain. They don't sound like a people who want to um, uh, have a low moment, right? So when you know the other person is not there to have a low moment and they want to feel good with you, then what is a good reason they're feeling this way? And I think the grace for must be extended to ourselves first. Like it has to be unapologetic love for yourself, that I'm okay. I did wrong. That's okay. I messed up. That's okay. And but why did I? Like talking to yourself in a nurturing way. And that self talk then naturally starts extending towards other people.
Ah,
Sometimes we're mean to other people because we're mean to ourselves.
mm, interesting.
Brie, what do you think?
Um, one thing that stood out to me on the quote itself, which two things. Number one, key is not a secret, and then the end. It's not for the faint of heart. And everything in between, it's true. It's like if you have a successful marriage or a successful relationship, it's about having the hard conversations and then not getting angry if you don't agree with that, right? So, like, okay, sometimes Chris tells me about his job. I really don't care. I don't want to talk about my job, right? I what you do you, I do me. We come home, let's talk about some other things, right? Right? I don't we don't talk about that. I don't care what Sally said at 2 p.m., right?
Yeah.
Some people need that. You know what I mean?
Look at Rosie. She's geeking.
And
You
so,
do you, I do me. Let's talk and be
I gotta
happy.
be
Like,
honest.
what
We're
the
not
hell
exempt.
is that?
We're not
Huh?
exempt from that either.
I'm not giving a shit about what you went through unless you give a shit about what I went through. And if you are good enough to hear me through, I'll see if I still want to take up and talk about you.
Rosie would much rather me talk about her.
Do I look like a kind of person who will do that?
Oh, we can talk about me for a little bit as long as we balance it out.
Guys,
Who knew we were
well,
gonna?
it penetrates in business. Oh gosh. Well, that's good, Bria. I really enjoyed what you just shared. Thanks.
Well, you're gonna add to that, right?
well, I was just saying, sometimes you have to take a step back and say, okay, why do they want to share that, right? Where are they coming from? What do they just need me to listen, or do they want my advice? And sometimes they just want you to listen.
You know what you just made me think of?
Hmm.
The portion where he's talking about honoring the shared journey.
Mm.
So it's a shared journey. So while it is him at 2 o'clock listening to Sally shit, you are, even though he's on in his own world doing his thing,
Yeah.
it's about the collective, about how you are, that Sally's experience is your experience. Now, I'm curious, how do we turn that conversation into one that we want to have too?
Well, we can change the subject.
Like you
I,
said,
I would say you simply say, we're gonna have a conversation. Clearly, your matter is more pressing, so I'm gonna give you the grace, and why don't you begin? But I want to make sure I'm okay too at the end. So once you're done, like it's my turn to really hash this out,
I'll
so
give you
that
5 minutes. Go.
5 minutes, bro. That's it.
the other
What are
person
you
is not
talking
gonna listen to us until we let them get out of the way. I have seen it. Like you
Yeah,
gotta get
just
there.
let them do whatever they got to do. Then you can come in and do what you got to do. It's
Now,
okay.
I'll tell you what works for me a little bit, and the results have shown up for me in doing this. But it's like this. It's like, yeah, okay. So tell me again, what happened? why is why is that important to you? A version of why is that important to you?
Wait, you want to know something funny?
What?
So sometimes, I have to be really direct with Chris sometimes, right? I had to tell him, I don't want to talk about this anymore. I want to talk about this. I don't care about this. Like, because it just keeps going, right? And I know this is probably not the right thing to say, but just like be very direct, okay?
Yeah.
So actually, we were having lunch the other day, And I told him about something, and I was trying to talk about this, and I was like trying to get his opinion, and he just kind of brushed right over it and started talking to me about something else. And I'm like, I said, okay. I said, I can see we don't want to talk about what I was talking about. And
Yeah.
then he said, oh, actually, I was just going to ask you. I said, no, you were not going to just ask me.
That's clever.
He said, I was just going to ask you about that. I'm like,
Well,
oh, really? After you said that, you had to rewind and then do it?
yeah. There's one little thing that we've been using the last 6 months or a year, I would say, probably. I'm not sure how long it's been. But we're using this strategy of my loop is still open about that, about XYZ, whatever it is.
I need to try that. Let's see.
I'm laughing. Come on. It works. You know it works.
Listen, Linda, listen.
Listen, Linda.
Listen, Linda, listen. Here's the thing. When Roger is saying that, oh, I don't want to listen because here's the new tagline. Hey, hold on. I explained the whole scenario to him. This is what I'm trying to do, right?
Did I just move everyone?
Yeah.
Sorry, I needed to do that. My eye was hurting looking that way.
Okay. So he said, you know what? Tell me again. Hold on. I lost you in between. I was like, when were you going to tell me you lost?
She goes, okay, I lost you. And I promise I'm listening. I just told her, I said, look, you got to make it more exciting.
No, there has been times you admitted, you said, hey, I lost you somewhere in between. I said, but, so why did you let me keep going if you lost me in between? He said, well, when the idea is this big, you can't absorb it in one try.
Yeah. I told her, I told her, listen, I didn't feel that strongly about it, but it was confusing. So, like, I don't know if I should interject and have you explain it to me, or if we should keep going. Like, I'm just a little lost.
Can we all agree on this, that all of this directly translates in some version into real estate and business?
Yeah, 100%.
I want you both to tell me, how does that happen?
Oh,
well, yeah, you go, Ruth. I'll take your word for it.
I was going to say, until you really understand what someone's true thing is, whether it's, what is their truth of why they're buying this? What is the truth of why they're selling? Get to the root cause and really like their big why as to what's happening and what's important to them. Then, I mean, you're trying to climb on okay, I don't have a good analogy, but you're not getting anywhere basically until you really understand the person. So I think slowing down, truly understanding someone, where they're coming from, and then being able to have that open and honest communication where sometimes it's not what people want to hear. Sometimes you want something that might be slightly out of reach, right? Or like, and the market is talking in a different manner. But to be able to have that open and honest conversation and you end up getting through it, I think that that's the key to any relationship.
Beautiful. That's awesome. Roger?
What was your question?
Like, how were we all talking about the quote that you put in from Ron and all the discussions we had about understanding the other side? How does it translate to real estate business or business in general?
Well, that's where I don't think it necessarily has a direct correlation, but that's the beautiful part about it, because how we are in one place is how we show up everywhere, right? So if I can't communicate effectively with you, then I can't communicate effectively with the barista at the coffee shop. Now I'm getting something I didn't ask for. And then I go and I want to try to buy real estate, and that's not working. And so all of a sudden there's this dysfunction. Everywhere I turn, there's a dysfunction. And so the better I am at communicating, and look, this is the pitfall of becoming a better communicator. You're going to run into people who are not that great at communicating. And you're going to say to yourself, and this has happened to me recently, where I went and I said, wait, hold on. Well, we're going in the wrong direction. Like someone who I was sitting and having this, I took out time to have this conversation, and then I'm noticing the conversation's going in the wrong direction. I can see it's a miscommunication, right? So having the knowledge on how to communicate well, how to express ourselves, and how to come from a place of curiosity, how to ask questions, right? That's what I think I, in essence, have learned from being with Bree and Rosie. If I've learned anything at all in the 20 years of real estate is how can I take two steps back? How can I come from curiosity? And how can I ask better questions? Because they say leadership is not about coming up with all the answers, it's about having the right questions and learning to mine for those questions. And so if I'm looking to buy some real estate right now, and by the way, guys, I just want to take the time to say that here is the RBR show is sponsored by Rivet Real Estate. And if you are looking to buy, invest, or sell any real estate, we're here to help you with that. And who's this show for? Everybody and anybody thinking about growing their wealth and investing in the hottest markets in the US. What do you think?
Amen.
And what y'all think overall about my message about how it correlates to real estate?
I think it's incredible because I'll give you an example. You know, remember those moments when you feel like that you're responsible for something very precious, and like your baby, right? And baby's taking a nap. You wrap the baby in a nice blanket. You fed the baby. You bit the baby to sleep, and now it's time for you to take a little break and you do you in that moment, right? You go do things that make you happy. You go work out. Um, you go for a walk or read a book, whatever it is. It was one of those moments for me this weekend, and I remember parked in front of a gym, and the phone rang. And when the phone rang, you know the phone calls that come to you after hours, what they meant. And if this person is calling me on the weekend in the middle of the day, it's not a good news. It's not a good news. In that moment, I had a decision to make. Either I take the phone call or I don't take the phone call. And if I take the phone call, then I better handle it in a way that I still stay motivated to work out for an hour after that call. And I took the call, and of course they said, Rosie, I don't have some that good news. It's not going to work out. And it was a real estate deal that we were working on. And he shared the reasons of why it wouldn't work out. You know, in our real estate world, there are two people exchanging hands. One is bringing money to the table, one is bringing house to the table, and they exchange hands, and the home ownership is switched. And in that moment, this person who's supposed to bring money on the table, they get the money from this third party, and the third party said no. And there's nothing you can really do because there are guidelines, there are overlays, there are rules and regulations, and you just gotta jump through those hoops. And I've been in that position before, and I remember talking to that person. I was like, you know what? This person, how well this person stays in the deal depends upon how good of an expert you have on the other side. So if I wanted to see a good outcome, then the one thing I could not lose is the confidence of this person who was working with me. I needed to make sure they stay in confidence. And we had a conversation. I said, you know, I completely understand. It's natural for anyone to feel frustrated when they've spent months, weeks, and sleepless nights making this deal work. And it all comes down to this third party who is not collaborating, is not cooperating, right? And what are you going to do at this point? And I said, there's so many people in our world who come across this day in and day out. I remember experiencing most of it in the beginning of my career, and it's frustrating to see some things just slip away from your hand that you have nurtured and loved on for so long. And I remember in my early days that these moments happen for everyone. But later I found out the people who ended up winning the deals, they just were so good at sticking in it. They just knew how to dig the holes in and stick in the storm and not give up, you know, and just stay with the pace. And they were resourceful, they were collaborative, they were willing to reach out for help. And I told him, I said, look, I'm not here to tell you what to do. There is no right or wrong way about it. It's a tough call. We can make all parties aware about this distress, or we can take one more shot at it and make sure we have exhausted every resource in front of us. And if everything lines up, then it's a win win. Why don't we do this? Here are a few of my resources who have helped me in a similar situation. Why don't you give them a call and get a second opinion? And I gave him two or three other ideas on how this can be rectified if the buyer has those resources to make happen. And he instantly get to work. And I remember getting the call the same, actually same night. It was too late at night, so I didn't see the message. So the next day, I'm again in the gym, sitting in the same parking lot, and the phone rang again after our call. But this time, he said, "Rosie, I just want to give you the good news. It all worked out, and it actually worked out better than before." So I feel like when you ask me how does it translate to the real estate business, I think how it translates is like how well I have mastered myself is how well we master the work we do. So I love this because we get to deal with people, solve real problems, and make others' life better.
Wow, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, awesome. Well, cool guys.
Actually, I wanted to share one more thing on that note before
Yeah.
we. So I was talking to one of my friends here, and this is just touching back on the 12-week year. We're going to have a market update for everybody. We just feel like it's a little too soon because a lot of the numbers are being revised. And so the employment numbers and other numbers are going to be coming in. There's some really big news on different startups and businesses coming to Austin. Now, the final thing I wanted to touch on in the 12-week year was, and this is a spot of the book that I feel like a lot of people will overlook and it'll fall on deaf ears, but the idea of having a vision. And so I think you touched on that a little bit earlier, Rosie, by having accountability partners. And so the book also talks about creating a WAM, which is a weekly accountability group or something, right? Meetup or something. So, and I think in essence, that's what you're talking about, like making your goal public, but also being able to revisit and share your results on that goal. And so a lot of times I feel like people will leave their goals because they don't have an accountability group. Now, on that note, I was talking to a friend of mine who owns roughly 30 to 40 dental clinics across the US. He's extremely successful, and I was wishing him a happy new year, and I said, "Hey man, what do you think about how important is a vision?" And he says, "Man, it's extremely important." I said, "Well, what do you think about, you know, what do you think about vision boards? Because either you really love vision boards or you don't, you're like, what the heck? Why am I cutting this stuff out of a magazine and gluing it on? Like it feels like a first grade assignment, right? It doesn't feel like if you really don't believe in it, it can feel like it's just kind of gimmicky. To be honest with you, there's been moments where I felt that way about it before, and and he shares with me. He says, "Bro, like vision is so important. It's important to develop a vision that actually is curated for moment by moment for your whole day, for him at least." And so he says he takes time out of his day and curates a vision. Playing out how his day should look like in his mind. And so I wanted to kind of share that with the group today because I know there's a lot of us that are thinking in the terms of becoming a better version of ourselves. And if you haven't heard that idea like I hadn't, this is just reaffirming how developing a vision can be really important. And I know, Rosie, you have some really good strategies, and I know you have a vision board. Could you share with everybody a little bit about how you put yours together?
Yeah, so definitely, I feel like I think it's a whole session itself. For now, I think it needs to be present, it needs to be visible, it needs to be something that strikes a chord with you. And I often make tweaks in my vision board. I feel like that's the biggest mistake we make. We feel like, oh, we're making a tweak because we have given up on that vision. That's not true. Sometimes we realize that's not what we really want. What we really want is this. And it's okay. As long as I am becoming my unique function that I'm here to be, then I'm good. Sometimes we are in comparison mode. And we feel like just because somebody else has it, it's going to be equally good if I have it. but nobody knows how it feels to have that one thing that somebody else has. So do I really want to have it? So as you're pursuing that path, um, we become we become aware of the experiences of what it feels like to be in that position, and maybe I don't like it anymore, and we're sometimes too afraid to change it, and when we don't change it, we don't like what we're looking at, and we shut down the vision boards. That has been the case for me. So I changed it quite a bit. So I would say make tweaks, make it visible. I don't think I'm a person to really speak on vision boards yet. My mastery is not there yet. But I would say it's probably a conversation of a whole in itself. And I feel like
Well, what do you think about having a vision in general? Have you felt the times that where you've focused on it, it's helped you?
100%. If somebody gives me, even till today, like if I have someone that I'm going to meet this week, and I want to get all the information down, I want to look at everything, I spend good 15-20 minutes just having a mental like rundown of how I expect the whole conversation to go, because I honestly don't know. I think it's for me personally, it's a um, deficit in my the way I work. A lot of people can just get up and go. I just can't. To me, I look at things, I marinate in them, then I can do it with ease. But that deficit somehow has allowed me to just envision on my drive up to the appointments, on my interactions up. I have to really feel it, not just write about it. I have to feel the outcome that I have to create for someone, and I think that's where
Have you developed your vision board yet or no? For
My
20,
vision board?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Are you enjoying using it?
Yeah, I love a vision board. I mean, I agree with what Rosie says on allowing it to change, like it doesn't, and sometimes you realize that, oh, I thought that I wanted something like this, but actually I need to tweak it and I want this instead because maybe what that thing was, right? That's not really fulfilling you, but this
yeah,
random thing that you didn't know is
yeah.
actually fulfilling you more.
You know what's really odd, and I know we're going to have to wrap it up here soon, but we wrote letters to ourselves in a class that we were in, right? Writing a letter to our future self, mentioning which of the goals that we've achieved during that year. And so we wrote those letters in the coaching platform that we were in. Actually mailed them back to us a year later. And so while we opened up those letters, we tucked them away, and maybe 3 or 4 years later, we pull those letters out, and we're realizing how many of those goals we were able to hit.
Mhm.
So you might not hit
I
them.
started looking at, by the way, 12-week book talks about it, that if everyone does what they said they're capable of doing, if everybody just did what they're capable of doing, they would literally astound themselves. And I was so like looking at my goal, I was like, this was my goal. Just
Ah,
this was my goal, right? Like I just wanted to do this.
yeah.
So, on that note, guys, I think we're just warming up the conversation for the year. Real estate is so easy for us, but I think this year our goal is to be open and share with you who we really are as people and what do we stand for, and what experience we want to create for y'all. So I hope this was a healthy conversation for you all to listen to. Please give us your feedback, engage, have fun, and enjoy. I'll see you guys next week.
All right, guys, take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye bye.